Good evening again. My name is Patricia Baston, and welcome to the Candidates Forum, which is made possible by the African American Alliance. Would those members please stand? Do we have membership here? This is in conjunction with the Solano County Black Chamber of Commerce. Do we have any of those members here? Would you please stand? Yes. Thank you. Also, the Vallejo branch, NAACP, would those members please stand? And last but not least, the Vallejo Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Would that group please stand? Thank you. At this time, we request that all cell phones are turned off out of respect for everyone who is present this evening. Also, please note that in the back we have a table for individuals who are not currently registered to vote. We can take care of that situation tonight, and you can complete an application. The Deltas will be more than happy to help you with that on this evening before you leave. At this time, I would like to introduce Reverend Tony Ubaldi, who is a candidate for the Vallejo City Unified School District. We don't normally have school board candidates at this type of forum. But an exception has been made since we have a special election coming up in November. So we're going to allow Mr. Ubaldi to come at this time and address us.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate the African American Alliance for giving me 2 minutes. And I'm crashing the party, I recognize that, but that tells you exactly how much I feel about the school district. It's important to be assertive, to recognize that all the things that everyone has been talking about, economic development, hiring more jobs, and bringing in people, they all mean a lot, don't they? But if we do not have the skills, the training that comes from all districts, all those words are in vain. So I just want you to know, no one will come in here and hire people if they don't have someone. They would not move to the city if the school district is not good. But let me tell you, the good news is the school district is improving. And it is a good time to be in a board. That's why I'm very excited to be part of this election. I have spoken with Dr. Ramona Bishop. I've spoken to 3 school board members, who, by the way, gave me their endorsements. And I'm also thrilled that they are giving me the opportunity to be part of this great movement taking place in our school district. I like and enjoy being a part of it. Just want to let you know that I've been endorsed by the Democratic Central Committee. I've been endorsed by the Labor Council. I've been endorsed by 3 school trustees at the moment. And I very much really embrace that opportunity to be working with them. Issues are still like the issue of dropouts, the issue of fiscal challenge, the issue of achievement gap, and finally the issue of safety in our schools. The strange thing is when I discovered that also is that was part of my plan. And I looked at the K-12, the website, and it was exactly the same. So we'll begin work together in June. So thank you so much for this evening. Again, my name is Tony Ubaldi for School Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Without further delay, I would like to turn over the podium to our moderator for the evening, none other than Eva Coley, chairperson of the African American Alliance and president of the Vallejo Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate all of you for taking some time out of your busy lives to come out to this forum. I know you've been, some of you have been to others, but this one is going to be good. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda for me is we're going to have the candidates introduce themselves. Now, candidates, you have 2 minutes, so you have 2 minutes to tell us about you. And we're going to start with Sam Kershaw, and when he's finished, just keep the roll going, okay? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam Kershaw. I'm originally from New York City. I'm a self-employed information technology consultant who works mostly with nonprofits, supplying them with refurbished computers. I've been in California for 17 years, 8 of which have been in Vallejo. I'm running for city council because I believe at the grassroots level is where government is made and where government can change. I'm not a lawyer. I have no political background or political history. I'm doing this as a citizen of Vallejo because I want to see Vallejo thrive. I'm running for free. I'm not taking any donations. I'm not taking any endorsements. And when I'm elected, I'm not going to take any pay or benefits. I'm doing it solely out of my love for Vallejo. Sam Kershaw for VallejoCityCouncil.com. You can read about me there.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jesus Malgapo, and my background is I served the U.S. military for 25 years, so I've served our country faithfully. And so tonight I'm asking you to support me by helping me get elected in the City Council so I can serve our city. More than 3 years, a little over 3 years ago, May 23rd, 2008, our city filed Chapter 9. And sometimes we forget. The council typically meets 52 weeks a year, but leading to the filing of Chapter 9 and the ensuing years, our incumbent city council met multiple times, many long nights, sometimes working until the wee hours of the morning, rolling their sleeves, working hard with city staff, and trying to find solutions, working with bankruptcy attorneys. Sometimes we forget that they, the incumbent council, brought us to where we are today. Fast forward to July 8, 2011, we exited Chapter 9. How great is that? So how about a big round of applause for our incumbent city council? Sometimes we forget to thank them. But I am in the race. We are at a crossroads. This is an opportune time to now pick up the pace and truly help our city onward to economic recovery. Thank you.
My name is Matthias Isuimene from Africa. I came to the city of Vallejo from Oakland in 1999. I've lived in Vallejo and I enjoy living here. I'm an engineer by profession for coming here, 18 years in the Air Force, retired. I've worked in various capacity to make sure things are done right, and I believe doing things in the right way. I'm a business analysis, information technology, project management, and other certifications. I believe a lot of things have happened in our city. We need a change. A change that goes to the grassroots for every home, every individual, every family, not corporate franchise. And we need a change in our city that touch the grassroots of everybody so that things can change in our education, reducing crime and all other things. That's why I'm running for the city of Vallejo. The members who are there tried, but some of them need people to back them up to make sure what they are doing is being executed. That is the reason why I'm running, to make sure things in Vallejo is done in the right way, involving the community for grassroots upliftment. Many homes have been closed. Many things have happened. People are crying here and there. We need people who can help, and that's why I'm running, to make sure I am involved in this city. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Bob Sampine, and first of all I'd like to thank the African American Alliance for allowing us to come to you this evening to talk about our positions and why we believe that we are the appropriate candidates for council. I want to talk a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Bob Sampine. I'm a retired sergeant from the Vallejo Police Department after 20 plus years with the police department. I have a total of about 35 years of law enforcement experience. I'm currently employed by Fighting Back Partnership, and I'm the crime prevention coordinator. I've met some of you folks that are out in the audience this evening. We've done neighborhood watch programs together at your homes. We now, and I'm proud to boast this, that we started with 9 neighborhood watch programs back in 2009. And as a result of the community effort, the concerns about our community, we now have over 350 of them. And I'm proud to say that I'm one of the people that has really pushed this program to be as successful as it is. My platform is simple. I have 4 planks to my platform. I believe in financial stability. I believe in economic development. I believe in enhanced public safety. And I truly believe in education, because our youth are our future. Again, my name is Bob Sampine. I'm dedicated to the community, and I'm committed to progress. Again, thank you so much.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. Thank you for your interest in the city of Vallejo. I am Robert McConnell, and I have decided to run for city council this time because I feel with the background, experience, and knowledge I have in government affairs and through private industry, I can actually contribute something to the city council. Briefly, I'm a native of San Francisco. I grew up in Nevada City, which is a small little town in the Sierras. Attended San Jose State, got my undergraduate degree in public administration, and was actually working on my master's degree in public administration, writing a thesis on the right of the public employee to strike. The Army decided they needed me more. So I went to Vietnam as a combat rifleman. From there, I came back, did some additional coursework in public administration, then attended law school at McGeorge in Sacramento, where I was on the law review, and also had the privilege of working at the California State Personnel Board, working in wages, compensation standards. I've been a deputy district attorney briefly, and I also was a law clerk for the United States Court of Appeals in San Francisco. Came out here in 1986 and have been here since, having served on the Vallejo Planning Commission, the Vallejo Charter Review, and also a citizens budget advisory group for the city manager. So with those backgrounds, I think I can actually speak legalese, speak bureaucratic, speak English, and understand rather well. So again, I'm running. My name is Robert McConnell. Again, thank you for coming this evening.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Logan, and I'm running for the Vallejo City Council. I get in trouble for saying John because on the ballot it will be Jonathan. But anyway, I'm excited about being here today. Aaron Hannigan told me it was hot up here, and it is. But it's good that everyone's here to hear our positions on certain issues. A little bit about myself. I am a I am the general manager of the Marin City Community Services District, which is a local government agency in Marin City. We're responsible for street lighting, garbage pickup, and parks and recreation services. And I'm really interested in transferring a lot of the knowledge and the skills that I have developed over a period of time to serve the community that I live in. I'm a third generation Vallejoan. My grandfather moved here in the 50s, raised his 9 children here. Subsequently, they had me and a few others of us. So I am a Vallejoan, and I'm proud to be a Vallejoan. We have had a great history, somewhat troubled present, but I happen to believe that our future is much brighter than our today. And that's what I want to work for. I think that future has to be grounded in the real economic reality of today. And it also has to be grounded in where the economy is going in the future. So one thing that I'm really going to focus on is economic development, making sure that we create jobs here in the city of Vallejo, that no one gets left out of that process. Folks that need a job, you should have a right to work in your city. I also want to support the schools. I understand that the city council doesn't have direct jurisdiction over the schools, but we can partner with the school district to do some great things and make life better for our kids. And that's something that I strongly support. It's something that I've been an advocate for years, and it's something that I'm going to fight for if elected to the council. The last point that I want to make is that I'm really interested in making sure that we preserve local services as they are.
No.
Oh.
Sorry, thank you.
All right. Red light.
Hi, my name is Erin Hannigan, and I happen to be running for re-election to the Vallejo City Council. My first race was in 2007, and I had the dubious distinction of voting for bankruptcy 5 months after being elected. The reason why I ran, though, wasn't to vote for bankruptcy. I ran because my husband and I have lived here for over 21 years. We're raising 2 children in this community, and I'm very concerned about this community where I have made a big investment, much like many of you here. So I want to make sure that my investment is well spent and that we come out in a much better situation than we were certainly when I got here. I'd like to just let you know I do have a track record, obviously, of being on the council for 4 years. I've been focused on quality of life issues. More importantly, I brought back the truck routes, and it sounds like a minor thing, but eventually what that meant was that we had fewer 18-wheelers driving on our city streets by your homes, and we didn't have to pay for those streets to be repaired. I'm the author of the Chronic Nuisance Ordinance, which has not yet been ratified, but it holds property owners responsible for the crimes that occur at their property, and it's reduced crime in one particular multifamily complex here downtown by over 50%. I've consolidated buses, worked with the consolidation of the bus system with Vallejo and Benicia. I've been working with the schools on the Vallejo Business Education Alliance and also with the Career Academy Master Plan, because like Tony Baldi said, if we don't have education, we're not going to get economic development, and I believe that. I'm focused on the environmental issues as well, as far as banning styrofoam takeout trays and the free magazine racks that are around town. Sounds like a small thing, but we do live next to an open waterway, and we need to be good stewards of our environment, and I'm a believer in that.
Thank you. You may not have known that, but that was a test run, so let me give you your instructions for how it's going to do in the next one. And I apologize. You will be given 2 minutes to answer a question. We have timekeepers sitting in front of you, and those lights have some colors to them. The green light is the start light. It gives you about 1 minute before you get to the yellow light, which is the warning light, and then you get to the red light, and if you're not stopped, you get to hear my voice. So, we're going to have some questions, and if you need for me to repeat the question, just let me go. And I'm going to start with candidate Kershaw. The city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
The very first thing would be to create local jobs right here in Vallejo. And my idea to do that is to establish a Vallejo Solano light rail system. And that would be built with some of the money that would come from the new jobs bill that Obama is trying to get through Congress, and I know it will. This could be something that we can tie our career academies to in our schools and teach students who might want to work in the transportation industry various jobs. It will give local people jobs. There'd be a depot and a maintenance facility on Mare Island. And not only would there be hundreds of jobs while it's being built, there'd be many afterwards. It would make Vallejo a hub, a regional hub, a center where people came to, and not only to come to, but to go to other places. It would put us on the map, and it would ensure plenty of jobs for us.
Thank you. Candidate Mogalpo, the city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
I think three things: the economy, public safety, and our school quality of our schools. The first thing we need to do is bring jobs to our city. Jobs, jobs, jobs. And to do that, we need to understand who the employers are. Our employers are the federal government, the state government, county and city government, and then we have the private sector. So the next thing we need to do is we need to talk to existing businesses that are already here in our city, the top 100 highest taxpayers. We need to know who they are. We need to talk to them, and we need to make sure they're not planning an exit of our city. The other thing we need to do is we really need to market Vallejo. We need to be more aggressive. In the past, if we have a parcel of land, we may want to just send an RFP, RFQ, and wait for who shows up at our front door. We need to reverse that. We need to do the opposite and be proactive and seek them out. Last, we need to pass Measure B. It's going to give us a jump start, and then we can work on improving public safety, which is not even substandard. It's unacceptable, folks. We need to really work on that. And then without good education, the pastor is correct, we cannot entice people to come relocate to the city of Vallejo. In fact, young parents are thinking about moving out. As soon as their kids hit 7th grade, 8th grade, they are thinking about leaving our city. We need to stop that.
Thank you. Candidate Esomini, the city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
One, we should build, One, we should make sure crime is reduced in our city. We cannot stop crime, but we need to reduce the crime to the bottom line. Second, job creation. Third, stop home foreclosure. It helps. There's a lot of infrastructures in Vallejo. We can modernize, recreate, and put some incentive for big companies to come to Vallejo to establish company. Because when there is an incentive given to everyone, they love to come to this city. And a lot of cities will start with a lot of attractions. We make sure our education is up to a higher standard in the school. Because when the education is on higher standard, nobody is going to leave the city of Vallejo. In the school, we need what is called guideline and code. Because if there's no code, people come here anyhow close to school. When instead of reading, they are watching music, iPods, BlackBerry, but are not listening to the teachers. And those codes, make sure is adherence to. That will stop a lot of things and increase a lot of things in our city here. And not only that, we need to increase the police. They are very few. We need more members of the police in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Sam Payan. The city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
The first thing that we should, we'll get this right. The first thing that we should concern ourselves about is a stabilized and sustainable budget. If we don't go there, if we don't concern ourselves with our spending, in particular with our contracts with our unions, how we spend our money, where our money goes every year, we are not going to be able to sustain the city budget that will be workable for our community. Secondly, we need to start thinking about economic development. I have to agree with our new economic development director where she talks about the RFQ process, request for qualifications. That puts a person's pocketbook before their mouth. But they're coming to offer Vallejo a product, a business, something that is going to be good for us. It has to be something that is of quality. And more importantly, that they have the qualifications to open a business within our community. These businesses could be placed on Mare Island for economic development purposes. We could look at the waterfront. And the beauty of that is that the downtown will also become revitalized if we work with Mare Island and the waterfront. Lastly, we need business retention. We need to have the businesses we're keeping along that we would hope the Chamber of Commerce could do for us. We need to shop Vallejo first. We need to keep our money here in town. And lastly, we need to enhance Vallejo's image, and that is good quality education and a good public safety system. Thank you.
The city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
Okay, let's talk about how to make some money. First off, we have to very judiciously follow what is required of us by the court in our 5-year adjustment of debts plan. Because if we don't, we are going to be back in front of that judge. And believe me, having practiced bankruptcy law for many decades, I know that very, very well. Another way we can do this is to marry our industrial, our economic, and our business section with our educational systems. We are blessed in that we have 4 post-secondary educational schools in this area. We have Truro, we have Solano Community College, we have Sonoma State, and we also have Cal Maritime. Now, my vision is to start very small, to have festivals which bring in people, they bring in money, people look around, and they often decide to relocate to a town that appeals to them. The next step up is to have a business incubator program. Now, Solano College is already doing this with the small business center there, but we need to take it a step further. We need to fund that program, which the city partially does, but we need to do more of. Because by encouraging people to begin their own businesses, they can avail themselves of the educational process in that school. They can also have a subsidized reduced rent in a city-owned or contracted building. And then when they're ready, go out in the community and find out if they really like operating a retail business, which will produce sales along the way. Another way is to encourage large businesses, that's true, but those will be primarily designated upon our economic development and our demographics. One of the ways to increase our demographics is to enhance our educational system and to attract more educated people, which can only be done in conjunction with the transportation system. So we have to marry that with our transportation system as well. So I believe that by putting all of these activities together, we can make ourselves business friendly. We can cater to...
Thank you. Candidate Logan, the city of Vallejo is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure our economic recovery succeeds, and why?
So our economy is stalled right now, and I think any economist nationally, locally, regionally will say that one of the main reasons why that's the case is that folks don't have jobs. Unemployment is at an all-time high. In Solano County, I think it's, what was it, 12.3%. I think it just the reports came out and it was a little lower. But that's still really high. Nationally, it's a little over 9%. But what that means is when folks don't have jobs, they're not generating money and they can't spend here in the city. So I think one of our major priorities has to be to figure out how do we create jobs in the city. One of our greatest assets is Mare Island. I actually took a tour with the folks from Lenore, and we toured the island and they showed me all the different job opportunities that are there. Asked a simple question: how many people in Vallejo know about these jobs that are available? And they said, well, you know, Lenore, they advertise in the city, but I happen to think that they can do a little bit more. Put the job opportunities that are there on Mare Island on the city's website so citizens of Vallejo can actually take advantage of these jobs. I also think that the economy, more than just the balance sheet and financial numbers, it also depends on confidence. So we have to rebuild confidence in our city. The Channel 2 News, we don't have to hear about every single murder that happens or every single robbery. That stuff happens everywhere. San Francisco has crime as well, but it's a world-class city, still attracts tourists all year long. That's something that I think that we can do a much better job at in terms of promoting our city, promoting the good things that exist here. That builds confidence, that makes businesses interested in actually coming to our city.
Thank you. Senator Hannigan, the city is about to exit from bankruptcy. What areas should the city concentrate on to ensure economic recovery succeeds, and why?
Well, I think that's a great question because most certainly we have been the epicenter of this economic strife with very high foreclosure rates, obviously filing for bankruptcy. And we're still dealing with a lot of the repercussions of the economic market. Coming in today, I heard that the International Monetary Fund has announced just today that they're reducing their projections on the recovery of the economy throughout the entire world, which it doesn't just include Europe, but it includes the United States as well. One of the first things that we're going to have to do as a council, and it's one that this council has set up, is a 5-year budget. And this 5-year budget is very flat. There isn't a lot of room for growth because of this expectation that there isn't going to be a lot of growth in this economic times. And so we're going to need to continue to spend within our means, spend one-time dollars on one-time needs, and be focused in making sure that our expenses no longer exceed our revenues, which was the situation before I got here in 2007. You know, we talk about attracting jobs. How about supporting the employers here in the city of Vallejo today? We as a community need to be more involved in spending our dollars in Vallejo. Because you need to know that when your tax dollars are spent in Vallejo, those tax dollars go to fix your roads, fix your streets, they support your public safety services and any of the other niceties that you'd like to see happen in the city. So let's start there first at retaining the businesses we have by all of us shopping here in town. Then let's talk about moving out and working to attract businesses from outside the city into our city. I believe very strongly that our public safety services need to meet the needs of our community. If we don't have that, we're not going to be able to attract business, as well as supporting our schools. All of you adults should be mentoring a student in our school district. We need to deepen those partnerships with the schools, and I think more importantly, communicate our success. Thank you.
Candidate Logan, the city of Vallejo received a grant from Kaiser Permanente to hire an additional police officer. What plans should the city be making to sustain this position once the grant is expended?
I think we have to continue talking to Kaiser. Kaiser found the money somewhere, and it's possible that they have more money to sustain it. But as we look forward, we have to build our foundation again on economic development. The city, we have a couple different ways that we bring in revenue: property taxes, sales taxes, and fees. Those are our major sources. And so we have to make sure that folks are buying homes here in the city. If they're not buying homes, then we're not generating money, and we need our values to go up. And that's the way we keep money coming in. That's how we sustain the services. We also have sales tax. We have to have businesses here. We have to shop here, as Aaron mentioned. That's important. Those are investments into our community, not just for supplies, but long-term for police and roads and infrastructure. So I would say, number one, we have to talk to Kaiser and see if there are other opportunities for similar grants and maybe even Sutter Solano. But long-term, we have to generate more revenue as a city.
Thank you. On Sunday, September 18th, a Unity Day celebration was held to celebrate diversity in the city of Vallejo. What will be your contribution in supporting events of this kind in the future?
Well, I was happy to attend once or twice during Unity Day, and was very happy to meet a large number of people there. Unity Day is something that, in this case, was initiated by the Youth Commission, and I want to commend them for doing that. It's something that the city can promote, and this falls in line with my idea of having more festivals, because by having festivals, they become more known over time, and that will bring in more people. So that's an economic plus for the city as well. We can work more closely with some of our more smaller and less well-known ethnic groups. I didn't hear any Scotland bagpipes incidentally. But I hope. Unity Day itself is an excellent concept because it gets everybody together, and it's a lovely setting. So what the city council can do and what the city can do is to promote it, and to bring in more and diverse ideas that have ever existed before. But I believe that citizen involvement is the key to all types of activities in this area. And unless you and I become involved in the activity of our choice, these activities are not going to continue, no matter how great the city council might wish to back it. So I hope you'll be more involved with not only Unity Day, but all other festivals and civic outreach and programs in the future.
Thank you. Candidate Esomini. Now that the city has a new economic director, what should be the first area of priority and why?
As the city of Vallejo has, as the city of Vallejo has a new economic director, as the city of Vallejo has a new economic director, if you look into the budget of the city, that's number one. What are the failures in this city? Where can we improve upon? Where can we make an amendment? When the city council member with the budget director or whoever is involved brainstorms with their visions, they can go a long way. Because when they develop a blueprint, they know that one, on the budget, what is lacking in the city? Is it to eradicate crime or lower the crime, to improve our education, to make infrastructure that attract people from other city to our city, make it like a Maryland, the waterfront more beautified, where we have maybe stadium or arena where WWE can come and show their performances, where there is an income to the city. If you can have other things that develop, make more attractive to the city, we need to do it. It's very, very important. But first of all, we need to channel most of the problem to the most important things in the city, not because they have the budget and they start spending at random. They should target it on most important things that will benefit the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that the city has a new economic director, what should be the first area of priority and why?
To build the light rail system that I mentioned earlier. I think that the money is there right now from the federal government. A large amount of money like that may never be available again. Like I said earlier, we can make Vallejo a place that people want to come to by being renowned for something. What used to be the shipbuilding industry on Mare Island. We can have a stellar light rail system that we build through local jobs, that we teach our students how to work in this industry by creating educational opportunities that will get them these jobs. We can partner with the companies that build this with us, and they can mentor these students. And again, the core of it is Mare Island. Once we get people who want to come here, we can put a hotel, casino, and conference center on one part of it. We could have green tech jobs. We don't even have public transportation that goes out there so people can go to work out there. We have to have all of that, and that's where we need to start.
Thank you. Candidate Sampayan, Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure, and what are your reasons to support your position?
Measure B at the onset looked like an excellent plan to me. When I first looked at it, I saw $9.8 million per year that was anticipated income. I thought, wow, that's a silver bullet. It's going to fix things. We're going to be able to hire people. We're going to be able to improve our infrastructure. We're going to be able just to bring our city back. Well, unfortunately, it sunsets in 10 years. And with the forecast of reduced projections of the national economy, the worldwide economy, with the unfortunate, well, wrong word, with the thought that we're going to have to think about contracts that are going to be coming up with our different unions, that $9.8 million is not going to sustain us for a very long time. What we're going to see happen is that we're going to spend without a spending plan. And when the 10 years sunsets and this money is no longer available, what are we going to do with those folks that we just hired? Yes, we might be able to spend that one-time money, but these folks we've hired are going to be either laid off, and we're going to be back to where we are currently, back in the doldrums. I don't want to see us back in bankruptcy, therefore I do not support Measure B. We need to stabilize our budget first. We need to make sure we have the income to keep what services we have and to do it right. We need to think about alternatives to our spending. Thank you.
Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure, and what are your reasons to support your position?
I think it's no mystery. I support Measure B. Measure B is a 1% sales tax, to be clear. Right now, you're paying 7.375. You were recently paying 8.375, and that was for the last 2 years, which sunsetted in June. That 1% went to the state. Do you know what that bought you? No. You're going to know what this 1% is going to buy you. You're going to know because if I'm sitting here on the city council in the end of this year and Measure B passes, I'm going to call for a citizens committee that is going to look at what the needs are in our community, and that's how we're going to set up what our focus is. And I can tell you what I'm hearing already. Public safety, our roads, and economic development. You've heard it up here. It's a very constant theme. And I have a hard time believing we're going to vary from there. My goal would be is that 1% sales tax would start out at a 1% for the first few years, and then it tapers down as we increase our economic development in hopes that as that offsets that 1%, and then it's gone. It's really going to require a lot of oversight by the public. I think what goes wrong up here is because the public sits at home and they don't get involved. And so I would ask the public to get involved to make sure that that money is spent correctly, because none of the economic development discussion that happens up here isn't going to happen if we don't have some money to put ourselves in a competitive situation with the other cities that we're competing for jobs, for good students, for young families, for that diverse, vibrant economy that we need to have here in the city of Vallejo.
Thank you. Candidate Person, Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure, and what are your reasons to support your position?
I'm in favor of Measure B because until we have revenue, we need something to use to improve Vallejo. Nobody wants to have more taxes, but in the short term, this is the fast fix. And I think that we need to use it to increase public safety and to fix our roads, like Councilwoman Hannigan said, and other priorities that we don't have money to. But we need to develop our own revenue streams through different mechanisms, and that's going to be the only long-term solution. We need this tax. It's all we have right now.
Thank you. Candidate Logan, Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure, and what are your reasons to support that position, your position?
I support Measure B. I think Measure B is a good way for us to sort of jumpstart our economy. I do have a plan for how I would spend the dollars. I would love to hear the public's ideas about it as well. So if you go to my website, loganportvallejo.com, you will see why I'm supporting Measure B. One thing that we have to be clear on is that we're not competing in the city with businesses or for businesses from other folks in our city. It's not even playing field, level playing field. We're competing with American Canyon, we're competing with Benicia, and if a business has an opportunity to locate in the city where the streets are paved, where there's low crime and the perception is that crime is low, that's where the business is going to go. It's important that if we're going to help if we're going to be helped, we have to help ourselves. And so I view Measure B as a investment in the community. Again, it's 1% on every dollar spent, meaning if you go to Burger King, for those of you who are healthy like myself, you get your value meal and it costs $8. The tax will be 8 cents. So you will be paying $8.08 instead of $8. That's a small investment, but the collective total of all the money, close to $10 million, is a great thing. So again, it's not enough time really to go into my plan, but check it out on the website. Part of what I want to do is put money into a job training program for youth during the summer. Kids have to have an opportunity to get work experience so that they understand when they're doing math in the classroom that it leads to a job in engineering or it leads to a job as a pharmacist. And so check out the website, you will see more, and then send me an email and let me know what you think, and if you think I'm off. I think oversight is key, as Aaron mentioned.
Thank you. Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure, and what are your reasons to support your position?
I support Measure B for many reasons. One, when you increase tax with 1%, you get more revenue to the city. Most of the candidates here have said, we create more jobs, yes. Road fix, yes. Has more security, yes. But to those who are not even trained, not everybody out of high school can go to university. We need to have technical school. With Measure B, with more money, we can train those people. Very handy job. A lot of things we can do by increasing that Measure B. Not only that, we can also help the homeless to be sustainable. We can help those with health, give them more part of the money because of the Measure B. We can help those who are in need with the help of the Measure B. Measure B has a lot of work to do. If you look at many cities, how many companies do we have in the city of Vallejo that are producing something? I don't think they have up to 2. Benicia have a lot. Compare the population of Benicia with Vallejo. Benicia is like a village compared with the city in Vallejo. Look, the American Canyon, the same thing. They produce a lot of things, but in our city here we produce nothing. But with Measure B, we can go a long, long way with the help of Measure B because it increased and gives more money to the city. And we can do a lot of things with that money because it helps us for development. Thank you.
Thank you. Measure B will appear on the November ballot. What is your position on the measure and what are your reasons to support your position?
I'm going to vote no, and here's why. Poverty has increased substantially in the last 10 years, and especially the last year. It's now up to 15.3%. It's the highest since 1993. We have a moderate to lower moderate middle class citizenry in this town, and that is a very regressive and regressive tax. It's time that we get the tax off the backs of the middle class, because otherwise you're going to pay for it. It's easy to say, oh, we're going to have all this money if it's passed. The real challenge is to know what to do if it doesn't pass. This is not just a sales tax. It's also a use tax. What that means is if you buy your computer out of Texas from Dell, and the Board of Equalization or the City of Vallejo actually finds out about that, they will charge you with that use tax. That means we'll probably have to create another bureaucracy here in the City of Vallejo to trace all those transactions. That's more money. If we're going to devote this money to public safety, and I'm certainly in favor of that if it passes, let's talk about what's going to happen when our 20 to 22 officers are going to retire probably next February or March. Are we going to pay the new people at the same rate that we're paying the old people? Is that what we're going to use the $7.9 million for? I hope not. It's time to restructure our government. And if that money is on the table, the temptation to not restructure it will be too great.
The November ballot. What is your position on the measure and what are your reasons to support your position?
I support Measure B, and this is why. Measure B is now, not 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. Any improvement, any economic development that you will hear us talk about tonight will not convert into any kind of revenue anytime soon. Measure B is today. We need the money today. We don't need it next month, 6 months from now, a year from now. We need it now. We cannot expect anything from the federal government, the state government, not even from the county. Folks, we are on our own. If we don't help ourselves, who is going to help us? Okay? So, the other thing is, if you look at some of the applications of these monies, and by the way, there's nothing the city council does that's done in the dark, in a back room somewhere. Everything is transparent. It's discussed right here. So whatever revenue comes in, the city council, through the recommendation of the staff, will figure out a way to spend it where the most people would benefit. Public safety is already not even substandard. I mentioned to you earlier, it's below standard. It's unacceptable in unacceptable levels. Our budget's flat. You heard that, 5 years. Any fluctuation in our budget to the left, we're in trouble. The budget has two parts: projection of revenue and spending. The spending is solid. We know where we want to spend that money according to our budget, but the revenue, it may or may not come. You need to understand that. We need Measure B. We need it now.
Candidate Hannigan, the city has received numerous applications for cannabis shops. What is your position on increasing the number of permits issued in the city and why?
That's a tough one, even though I'm kidding. It's pretty easy. Actually, the city of Vallejo does not have permits for cannabis shops. Cannabis shops are opening up throughout our city under the guise of different other types of permits. They're very creative. They're, pharmaceutical, or they're, I don't know, grocery store, whatever you want to call them. They're coming here and they are illegal businesses in the city of Vallejo. My position, though, has always been that, one, we need to develop an ordinance that regulates the number and the location of them, and I'm thinking something around 3. And you know, because the state of California has voted that we could have medical marijuana dispensaries, I want to make sure that they're operating legally, that we have very few of them, that they are taxed. Measure C on the ballot this November is to support a tax that will occur at the medical marijuana dispensaries. But more importantly, I want to hold the property owners accountable for bringing these businesses into their buildings. If there's anybody that has ownership in our community to the state of our streets and our neighborhoods, it's the property owners. And until we start fining them and taking them to court and getting into their pocketbooks, they will continue to allow these illegal businesses into our town. I'm also a big proponent of heavy enforcement, law enforcement, as well as any help we can get from the county. We have a 3-pronged approach that will be coming out that will look at the businesses themselves, the property owners, and also the enforcement piece. And so you can rest assured that we are going to be tackling that issue. I do believe we're behind the 8 ball on it, so to speak, but we will get there.
Thank you. The city has received numerous applications for cannabis shops. What is your position on increasing the number of permits issued in the city and why?
Well, I don't think we should be increasing them. We already have too many as it is. And most of them do come into the city to try to get a business license. A business license, however, is simply a revenue-producing device. It doesn't mean that you're operating the business correctly. It just means that the city's going to get some money out of it. That's all it's intended to be. If they come in and say they want to have a marijuana shop, the city says no. If they come in and say, well, we want to have a cookie shop, but we're also going to have marijuana, then the city has been known to say yes. We should have had a moratorium a long time ago, quite honestly. That's my feeling about it. But since we don't, we have to take a look at what that ordinance will be so that when the regulation does come, it will be properly structured. The city of San Jose is right in the middle of doing this right now. They've been through their first ordinance reading, and there's a lot of debate down there. Fortunately, I have a background in understanding both federal and state law because bankruptcy law requires that you go back and forth between federal and state law. This is what we have on the marijuana problem. We have a state law that says it's permissible under limited circumstances, and we have a federal law that says it's not permissible at all. So first off, we're going to have to understand this ordinance very, very carefully. And yes, I'm certainly in favor of taxing the heck out of them. Why not? However, we cannot levy fees upon them to become a tax unless we can connect the fees to what we do as a city. And we can do an awful lot. That's auditing, that's policing, that's zoning, that's inspections, that's narcotics anonymous classes being supported by these dispensaries. In other words, we're going to have to take a long, hard look at this because it's not going away. We can ignore them, which is what the city has done so far, and look what we've gotten. We can ban them, which means they'll just go underground again. Or we can learn how to regulate them in the proper way and actually make some money off of this, which is what we need to do.
Thank you. The city has received numerous applications for cannabis shops. What is your position on increasing the number of permits issued in the city and why?
The bottom line is that this is illegal. I'm not for increasing any permits or issuing any permits. In fact, I think we should close every single one of them down. Yes, I'm for the legalization and taxation of marijuana. If it's sold medicinally, I think it ought to be sold in a pharmacy, not in a pot club, in a social atmosphere. And I think that the city is putting the cart ahead of the horse by wanting to create a tax. They should have created an ordinance about this, and part of it should heavily weigh on the city's legal liability if the federal government decides to step in and play hardball. It's going to be a very expensive legal battle that we're going to lose. I don't think we're in a position to wage that kind of war with the federal government. So I think we need to close every single one of them down. I think we need to do a lot of legal research and write an ordinance about this. And I think we need to wait on it and see what the federal government's going to do first.
The city of Vallejo received a grant from Kaiser Permanente to hire an additional police officer. What plans should the city be making to sustain this position once the grant is expended?
One of the first things that the city needs to do is look at the police department and the expenditures within the police department. One of my biggest concerns is that we need to make proper use of the amount of officers we have now. If Measure B does not pass and we are going to keep our current budgetary amount, then what are we going to have to look at in terms of expenditures? One of the first things we need to do is look at realignment of the police department. We need to use our police officers wisely. We need to think about using civilian employees that will take up the slack for our sworn officers when they're off taking priority calls. In other words, what I'm saying is that we could use civilians for the report taking. And we all know people, victims of crimes, who have waited for hours for a police officer to show up to their home if their home has been burglarized, when we could send a civilian person to take that police report. What about accidents? We have non-injury accidents that people request a police report and we don't even get a police officer for that. If we can utilize our civilians, our non-sworn, or even volunteer personnel, those folks would be available to take up the slack. In that way, we would be saving money and we can continue the use of this officer at Kaiser Hospital. Thank you.
Thank you. The city of Vallejo received a grant from Kaiser Permanente to hire an additional police officer. What plans should the city be making to sustain this position once the grant is expended?
We thank Kaiser for giving money to the police department or for the city for increasing of the police in Vallejo. We should look generally on other companies in this city. Can they behave like Kaiser to increase the police? One, we need more police in our city. Citizen arrest cannot do the job of a policeman. Even wearing the uniform can frighten a criminal. I am a military man, wearing the uniform frighten a criminal. Not talk of even being involved. Because if you as a civilian comes to, you can't arrest me. But there's one thing we should know. That money should be used in the best way to make sure more police is hired. Ask more other companies to be involved the way Kaiser does things. Because when we have more police in the city, we are more safe. One, I wrote in my handout here, we should make sure police is not only driving their cars, we should have police on horses, on bike, walking. Because when we have them, criminals will not be able to hide. If they are involved everywhere, we can get them easily. Because when we say driving car, when I hear the siren of the police coming, the criminal is going to hide. But before you move very long distance, they know the police very close to you. Our police should be involved in the communities. This is work of the city manager to make sure things that is happening in our city, he is involved. Many of them are not involved, they are not even in our city. Supposed not to be so. They're supposed to live here to know what is involved in our city, how to combat those crimes. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Candidate Hannigan, the city has streamlined the permit process for businesses and other permits. How effective is the new process and why is it working or not working?
Oh, I hope it works. We don't have much of a track record yet. But under the guise of Ursula Reynoso, Luna Reynoso, excuse me, our new economic development director, I fully put in her hands the job and the task of making sure that the culture within our development departments is that the city of Vallejo is open for business. We need to be available and open for business for our citizens who want to get permits for their homes, for their businesses, for our community organizations who are looking to put on the festivals that Robert McConnell wants to have, that those happen early and soon and expediently. I think that is extremely important. I appreciate her global look as well to the entire city of Vallejo in bringing to the council the request for qualifications procedure. Again, that's show me the money and then let's talk that Bob Sampine talks about. And that is a much different process than what we've done in the past. And I'm looking to her to provide some success in that direction, because we need to hold our developers accountable, that they're going through with their due diligence, and that we're creating sustainable businesses that include a strong economic employment base for the city of Vallejo.
Thank you. I would like to say thanks to all our candidates and pass the test. You just seeing a whole lot of stuff in 2 minutes. And I hope the audience took it in. We are going to have a 5-minute break while we switch signs so we can get ready for the mayoral candidates. Thank you so much.